The Democratic National Convention continues with the Harris team trying to convince you that they're the real border hawks because they added a Long Island Democrat, Representative Tom Suozzi, to their lineup. And remember, Suozzi pretended to care about the border to get elected, as if that somehow changes the fact that Kamala waved in, 10 million migrants? Now, remember, the idiotic bipartisan border bill that we exposed from day one, they love to cite this in response to criticism, but it wasn't really a border bill at all. It would have, in the end, allowed 1.8 million migrants into America annually. But the real question that I think we're asking tonight is, how did we go from the party of hope and change to what often sounds like the party of hate and revenge? Here at the DNC, Democrats are talking about some of their favorite topics. You know, how much they hate Trump, how much they love abortion, which is what they're doing right now, how much they hate Vance, how much they love girl bosses, and how much they love vibes and memes. They sometimes sound like a bunch of mean girls in the cafeteria.
We have a choice, America, between the man who left our country a total mess and the woman who has spent 4 years cleaning it up.
Doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real ideas and solutions.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The Kamala crew is unserious, and that now includes the Obamas, who stole the show with one-liners trashing Trump, something we'd expect from snarky late-night TV hosts, not necessarily from a president and a former first lady.
His limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
They made a deliberate choice not to defend the Biden-Harris record on the big three, the economy, inflation, and immigration. And of course, Democrats tonight will avoid talking about the 818,000 jobs that just disappeared from April 2023 to March of this year. Or the fact that wages have declined, or the fact that many school children never recovered from the COVID lockdowns. Because they know they have nothing useful to say on these points, so they're not going to put forward any suggestions about how to overcome those challenges. They've also gone from hope to nope. Nope, you're not going to have a standard of living that improves. Nope, we're not going to talk about our plans. Nope, we don't care if illegals get treated better than the homeless vets. So between the rise of China and their views on climate change, I really think the Democrats have pretty much given up on boosting our prosperity. And they don't really care in the end because, in their minds, with about half of all American voters supporting Trump, why would this country, or at least a lot of it, be worth saving anyway? Now, remember, Obama's "you didn't build that"? Well, implicit in that was, you don't deserve that. Plus, you probably are living on stolen land and have relatives who fought in the South in the Civil War. So, time to pay up. They've determined that, for now, the safest path for Kamala is to just mercilessly mock Trump, as they criticize him, by the way, for mocking her. Well, tonight, starring as the Kamala attack dog du jour, is Tim Walz. And when they're not going to do that with the attack stuff, well, they'll just rely on vibes, memes, and celebrity endorsements. But if Harris wins this election, a year from now, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Bidens, the Pritzkers, the Pelosi's, they're all going to be hanging out at their various vacation homes, and most Americans will be looking at a weaker economy and lowering their expectations. So that's all a pretty high price to pay so that a bunch of rich people who despise Trump can get their revenge.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.